Another 24 hours of intensive airstrikes between Israel and Iran. Several Iranian missiles got through Israel's air defense system, hitting civilian buildings and killing at least 10 people. Israel has targeted Iran's energy infrastructure, including this oil facility and the world's largest gas storage depot. The UK has called for de-escalation, but Sir Keir Starmer has also said he's sending more military jets here to the region to protect British interests here. Good afternoon from Tel Aviv. Israel's Prime Minister has said that Iran will pay a very heavy price for killing civilians in the latest round of retaliatory airstrikes. At least 10 people were killed here in Israel and many more were injured. Tel Aviv and Haifa came under attack. The city of Bat Yam and the town of Tamra were also hit. Meanwhile, Israel carried out further strikes in Iran, attacking oil depots and facilities linked to the country's nuclear program. The Sharan oil depot near Tehran was set on fire, and the South Pars gas reserve, the world's largest, was also hit. The Iranian authorities say at least 30 children and women have been killed in the last 3 days. The Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, has said he's sending RAF fighter jets here to the Middle East. And this lunchtime, the Foreign Office advised against all travel to Israel. Our Middle East correspondent Lucy Williamson reports.
3 times last night, the skies lit up over Israel, and the nation hunkered down. Israel's air defences shattering Iranian missiles into glowing fragments above the clouds. The price of missing a single one of them was written on this neighbourhood in Bat Yam. A direct hit to this apartment block. The blast so destructive that 20 buildings around it are due to be pulled down. Rescue teams digging for residents trapped in the rubble have reportedly lost contact with some of them. There was smoke everywhere, Katia said. I couldn't breathe. The door just flew off its hinges. My mother is 76. She was injured in the head and had stitches in both arms. I'm trying not to cry. They're still digging for people missing from this apartment block. Injured residents climbing over the rubble, lining the streets outside. This is a different kind of attack to the ones Israel is used to. Its Prime Minister wanted to attack Iran while it was weak, but it's still strong enough to inflict real damage. Visiting the site today, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu accused Iran of deliberately targeting civilians.
Iran will pay a very high price for the murder of civilians, women and children, which they did intentionally. We will both achieve our goal and strike them with one decisive blow.
In Iran today, fresh panic as Israel carried out more strikes in Tehran. Among the targets hit, the Justice Ministry. Iranian media say more than 100 people have already been killed there since Friday. We didn't want this war, Iran's foreign minister said. We were focused on diplomacy over our nuclear program, but this was forced on us, and we'll defend ourselves. Last night, Israel attacked an oil refinery north of Tehran, one of around 80 targets it says it hit overnight. Israel says it still has many more targets in mind. US President Donald Trump wants this war to end in a nuclear deal with Iran. Mr. Netanyahu's end goals are less clear. Lucy Williamson, BBC News, Tel Aviv.
Well, as we've heard, Britain is sending fighter jets and extra logistical support here to the Middle East. Let's speak to our political editor, Chris Mason. He was at the G7 summit in Ottawa, where the Prime Minister is. Chris, what message is the government trying to send by doing this?
I think be prepared, really, for all outcomes, Anna. There's a myriad of concerns, really. Obviously, the escalation of the conflict itself, then a concern about UK bases in the region, and then the economic implications of all of this. Yes, on oil and gas prices, but also on that crucial artery of the world economy where you are, the Middle East, all of those shipping lanes. So a real deep concern. Now, the Prime Minister here in Ottawa, the Canadian capital, has been meeting his Canadian opposite number in the last hour or so. They've been reflecting principally about the conflict in the Middle East, and we've just heard from Keir Starmer in the last few minutes.
Obviously, the conflict with Israel and Iran is centrepiece, and this provides the opportunity to talk to our co-leaders about the fast-moving situation and to make our strong case together that there must be de-escalation of this conflict in the interests of the region and of course the world.
The Prime Minister's also had a phone conversation this afternoon with the President of the United Arab Emirates, repeating this much repeated line, this desire for de-escalation. Both the Canadian Prime Minister and Keir Starmer soon to hop on a plane and head west to the province of Alberta for the G7 summit getting underway tomorrow, with a real focus on what is happening, Anna, where you are.
Chris, thank you. Chris Mason there, our political editor in Ottawa. And as Chris was saying, the Prime Minister says that he's sending extra fighter jets here to the region to protect British assets and British interests here. So what are they? Where are UK forces here in the Middle East? Joe Inwood reports.
They are the UK's most important force in the Middle East. The fast jets based out of Akrotiri in Cyprus. And they're being reinforced. The numbers aren't clear, but they will include Typhoon multi-role fighters and Voyager refuelling aircraft. They're backup for a strategically vital base.
It allows the UK to project power and influence within the region without having to rely on long transit times, without having to rely on tanker aircraft being preeminent in whatever the activity is. So yeah, 100%. It's a critical airbase, and it's not just used by the UK as well. The US have a high-value intelligence aviation asset that operates out of there as well.
So what forces does the UK have across the Middle East? Well as the RAF base at Akrotiri, there are also 2 battalions at another base in Cyprus. The UK also has a naval base in Bahrain, with 4 mine clearance vessels and a Type 23 frigate stationed there. The aircraft carrier, the HMS Prince of Wales, has also just passed through the region. And there are also special forces, although their locations are a secret. The Prime Minister insisted the reinforcements in Akrotiri were for contingency support across the region. But the government's refused to be drawn on whether it might, as it did last year, help protect Israel's skies from incoming Iranian attacks. Iran has warned that if they do, UK bases could be targeted.
The UK, there would be a considerable risk for its facilities that were within range of Iranian weapons. As I mentioned, the UK doesn't really have much in the way of ballistic missile defence itself, and a saturation attack by lots of drones and cruise missiles would probably be a challenge.
For now, the message coming from the UK government is for de-escalation. They say these reinforcements are to protect existing assets that could be vulnerable in an increasingly unstable region. Joe Inwood, BBC News.
Well, it's just coming up to 7:15 in the evening here in Israel, and already people here and in Iran are thinking about looking to the skies tonight, because all of the rhetoric from both sides suggests that those waves of attacks are going to get stronger and not weaker.
Iran and Israel continue to launch airstrikes against each other for a 3rd day, with both countries warning of further retaliation. President Trump says meetings are taking place to try to end the conflict. He says the 2 sides should and will make a deal. Well, we start with some breaking news. In the past few minutes, we've seen explosions in the skies above Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Israel's Iron Dome has come into action, shooting down missiles fired from Iran. This was the scene in Tel Aviv in the past few minutes. You can see, well, and hear explosions in the sky as the Iron Dome rockets are fired to intercept the incoming Iranian missiles. And what I'm going to do is take you to the scene live in the skies above Jerusalem, first of all. That is the live scene in the night sky above Jerusalem.